We are back on Taking Care of Business on Koerner Radio, News Talk, 1180, 1230, KGEO, 1410, KERI, 1000 KKIM in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and now on the Internet on knookmedium.com, serving Richmond, Oakland, and the San Francisco Bay Area. Clay, our next guest, I've been looking forward to interviewing this guy. I'm going to make a prediction. I think this gentleman is someday, I'm going to say in the next 5 years, going to be a national name. I think he's that good. I've seen a lot of talk show hosts over the years when I was involved in L.A., and I think Ralph is one of the best. I'm
oh,
glad
wow.
to have him. Yeah, I really
You're
do.
talking about
Ralph.
me.
I'm talking about you.
I was like, God, I can't wait to hear who he's talking about.
I thought he was talking about me.
That's what I was thinking. Wow.
You guys both think I was talking about Clay?
I did.
You got to have another cup of coffee, Ralph. It's going to be a long day for you. Ralph Bailey. And for those of you in New Mexico and watching or listening to us in the Bay Area, you guys are in for a treat. Ralph Bailey has a show here on 1180 Kern on, let's see, 3 to 6 daily. And you're on 2 stations now, right?
No, we're just on Kern.
Just on Kern? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's right. The other guys had the simulcast
right,
too.
Right. We're hoping to get an FM.
Okay.
We're trying to work something out.
Yeah. Which
we'll see.
They'll probably take one of these little stations and put them on FM and do it that way.
No, I don't think so. But we're looking
one?
at some things, and we're really looking at the productivity of simulcasting.
Uh-huh.
There's some debate on what do you gain by going with FM on AM, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, be interesting to see.
Yeah.
So, tell us a little bit about Ralph Bailey. You grew up in L.A.
I did.
From Atlanta.
Well, I was born in Atlanta. My dad was there and moved around a little bit. Ended up in Los Angeles when I was about 9 or 10 in the early 70s. And came up here to go to school, really, to finish school. Thought I was just going to come up here, go to Cal State, run back home. And I got offered a job at the Californian. So I said, all right, I'll stick around, get some clips. You know, that's really all I wanted to do. I had no idea that I'd ever be in radio. I just wanted to be a print reporter. And was a correspondent in the North County covering McFarland, Shafter, Delano, and Wasco, and then got offered a staff writer position. So after a year, I said, well, I can stick around for another year and just get some more clips as a staff writer. And then I met Ron Feynman, who you guys may remember was the news director at Channel 23, and met him at an awards banquet, and he said, I don't believe in affirmative action, but I do believe in diversity, and I've lost my only black reporter. Do you think you can walk and talk?
You're black?
I am an African American. And I said, I think I can do this. And ended up in television. And, never dreamed that I'd be in television. And became the weekend anchor there and did that for 3 years and went over to KBAK, did that for 3 years. And when my contract expired, they didn't want to renew it. I was dating a girl here who didn't want to move. I had some job offers in Tyler, Texas, and Jacksonville, Florida, and Lincoln, Nebraska. Didn't like any of those cities. And when I was doing TV, we had a thing with KNZR where we would, the late guy, me, the night guy, 2:30 to 11:30, would read their news to give them a different voice. And so I created a relationship with Chris Townsend, the program director over there, and 2 days after I got whacked, he said, you want to do a morning show? And it was roughly the same amount of pay, so I said, why not?
Sure.
And that was 14 years ago, and here we are.
And here you are.
Yeah. And now we doubled your pay and brought you over here.
They backed up the Brinks truck, as I like to say. It's making a little scratch for the first time. Yeah.
Well, listen, it's long overdue. Now, when you were in Inglewood, you were a reporter there, but you did print.
Yeah, I worked for the Inglewood News. I worked for Coast Media newspapers.
Yeah.
I worked for the LA Sentinel for about 5 years. It's a black paper in South Central and a weekly newspaper. And that's, when I was young, that's all I wanted to do was newspaper.
Yeah.
I want to go back a little bit. You went to high school where?
I went to Buckley High School. Went to Buckley from 6th grade to 10th grade.
Is that a private school?
In Sherman Oaks, and then I graduated from Brentwood High School.
And then you also went on to college where?
Went to Morehouse College in Atlanta, Georgia, where my dad graduated. Yeah.
And
one of the more prestigious black colleges in the country. It's where Dr. King graduated, Samuel L. Jackson, Spike Lee, Edwin Moses. Our track is named after Edwin Moses. Edwin Moses was a chemistry major at Morehouse and became a track star and became the greatest Olympic hurdler we've ever known.
God, I remember, and he had the streak of 120
something
wins
like
or
that.
Something
he was
like that?
unbeatable.
Yeah.
And So I went there, didn't finish, unfortunately. One of my single great regrets in life that I didn't finish when my dad went to school. But it was a great learning experience. Got to work at CNN in Atlanta. And this is, you're talking about 1980s when there were 13 bureaus in CNN. CNN now has 13 bureaus in California. You know what I mean? It's crazy. And what was great was I was going to school in Atlanta and working at the mothership in Atlanta. And then I would come home for summer and I could intern in Hollywood at Sunset and Cahuenga. And so it was a great learning experience. It's really where I think I tell the story. I had to come in at 4:30 to 12:30 was my shift, and I'd come in. The first thing you had to do, again, this is the 80s where they had teletype. You had to come in and rip off all the teletype and put it either on a state, national, or international poll. So by 6:30 in the morning, I've read everything, and I'm sitting there. I finally got all the streams of copy sorted out, and I'm sitting there at 6:30. It's dark. I'm by myself. And I said to myself, I am the most educated guy in Los Angeles right now. I may not be the smartest, but I know. I'll tell you about the channel in France. I can tell you what's going on in Egypt. I can tell you what's going on in New York. I can tell you. And I think that's where I got bit, where I just having that knowledge. I just wanted to tell somebody, call somebody. Did you know this is going on? Did you know this is going on? And I think that desire to just communicate is really what spurred my career.
Our guest in person is Ralph Bailey, talk show host here on 1180 Kern.
Now, your dad was a doctor, correct?
He was. He was an anesthesiologist.
And here in Kern County?
They moved up here late. Yeah, he was my connection here. He was trying to open up a comprehensive pain medicine office up here. And I was about 26, 27 years old. I was working for weekly newspapers. Couldn't catch on with the LA Times because I didn't have a degree. And every conversation was, when are you going back to school? And so finally he was living at the Edgewater. And this, again, is long, early 1991, 92, when there was nothing west of Cal State.
Right.
And I remember he took me out on his balcony, and he said, look, that's the campus. Hell, you could walk there if you had to. Come back, go to school. I'll give you this apartment for a year rent-free.
Oh, wow.
Well, to show you how stupid I am, I was on my way to San Francisco to visit some friends, and I told him, I'll think about it. And I get to San Francisco and I tell my friends this story, and they're like, are you retarded? I can't say that, I'm sorry. Are you developmentally disabled? Are you stupid? What is wrong with you? Why did you not jump it? I said, yeah, you're right. So I took it up, and I've been here ever since. And yeah, he passed away here. He had a heart attack here on White Lane in Gosford, actually. It was at that Texaco.
Oh,
was a Texaco. And my parents were going to L.A., so coincidentally, to visit a friend in the hospital. And he said he was nauseous, which we now know is a, onset of a massive heart attack.
Sure.
And he was going to get some Alka-Seltzer from the Texaco and has a massive heart attack right there.
Now, your mom's still alive, correct?
She is. She's doing well, 71 years old, spry as ever, living downtown L.A. Just saw her over the holidays. She's doing extremely well, and we're very lucky. I'm very lucky.
On the show once in a while?
She's my best guest.
Yeah.
I just can't have her on because it's like going to your son's Little League game.
Right.
You know what I mean? I have her on, and I want her to do so well, and I'm so afraid she's going to say something stupid or wrong that I'm nervous as a cat, and I just hate having her
How do you think she feels about you?
She knows I'm going to say something stupid, so she doesn't worry about it.
It's funny with my parents. My parents are both in their mid-80s, and my mom played with Anne Frank as a kid. She's Dutch, and my dad was a Canadian soldier. And I had them both on separately, did a Greatest Generation show, and it really turned out well. I was but the whole time, I know what you mean, I was on edge going, okay, this is going to be really bad. Something's going to be said that,
Yeah, you just want them to do well. It's like watching your kid play baseball.
Yeah, exactly. But it was, I was really, really surprised. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm very impressed.
Ralph, was it hard to make the decision to transfer from one station to another?
It wasn't, given what was going on, and it's, people don't know all that happens, obviously, before I left. Rick Buckley was the head of Buckley Radio, and he was the guy that truly believed in local radio. He believed in having local people talking about local business, local streets, and that was his drive. He passed away. Then about 6 months later, my mentor, the guy that really got me into radio and got me believing I could do this, Steve Darnell, who'd been there for 12 years, suddenly resigned and went up to Fresno. So everything I knew about Buckley Radio was gone. And I still believe, there are members of the family that live here that aren't involved in Buckley Radio. And I don't think that they're going to be around that much longer. I don't think the family is that interested now that the patriarch has deceased. I'm not sure they're that interested in it. So I think it was a perfect timing. I'd been talking with Tony for a while, and it just seemed like a great opportunity, new challenges, and the money was pretty good.
And good time slot.
Great time slot. My
Yeah.
same slot. That was important to me, that if I was going to compete against myself, essentially, my old
Right.
time slot,
Sure.
it was important that I brought up my sponsors with me. They were good enough to come with me. And, we've got some numbers coming back probably tomorrow. We'll see if my listenership came with me.
Yeah, I think so. And it's a good match. You're really a good match here in this
Thank
station.
you. Yeah,
So it's perfect.
Been great. It's been 9 months now.
When we come back, let's talk 9 months, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Started in March. 10
Wow.
months.
He's going full term.
I like that. We'll be back in a moment on Taking Care of Business on Koerner Radio. News Talk 1180.